YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day. We got some Olympic lifts, we got some one-arm deadlifts, and we got some accessories today. Good old lower body day today. We just got done with like a 4-hour BP session. I was BPing with some of the conference players in Minnesota, some of the best players in Minnesota. Older guy, he's kind of like the lead of senior ball in Minnesota, and then his name's Leaf, one of the best hitters in Minnesota. Dude, he's just a goat. And just got done 4 hours with him, dude. We were out there forever, a little bit baked from the sun. Body's feeling just a little bit beat up, a little bit tired from that session. I've been warming up with the Olympic lifts. Starting to feel a little bit groovy, but hopefully the body and the strength come back a little bit stronger here today so we don't get absolutely bodied by the Olympic lifts today. One of the things that was cool hitting with all of the masters of the sports that I've hit with, and it's really cool in the softball world because there's a lot of like technical things that go in the softball world that not a lot of people kind of talk about. And every time I talk to the best hitters in the world and the best technicians in the world of their sport, and this is similar to the lessons that I've learned on the podcast, every single time the lesson comes back that it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you complete the task, right? Like, there are no rules other than the rule of succeeding. And I think it kind of breaks a lot of the molds that us as coaches kind of make up. And I had this thought process when I was hitting today. I was like, why is baseball and softball such a like big technical sport, and why is it like one of the biggest sports in America? And one of the things that made me clicked in my head was it's the one sport dads can have control over as soon as their kid like turns 4 or 5 years old. As soon as they turn 4 or 5, the dad can suddenly turn into a coach. It's really hard to kind of work in like the football world like that. You can't go tackle your kid. You can't really like play agility games. So you can start playing catch with your kid in baseball. You can start pitching your kid in baseball. You can start putting a ball on a tee in baseball. And I just thought it was funny. It's like that. It makes sense why that sport is so like such a technical mess, and why so many people are obsessed about the minute things. I think a lot of times it comes down to like people that aren't coaches starting to coach and starting to take over, and just had that click. And then I go listen to like these really, really successful players and really successful athletes in the baseball world and softball world, and every single one of them tells you to break those rules and just get the job done. And one of the things that Leaf was saying today, it's like the best thing for him was he hit with all these really high-level athletes, same thing that I'm trying to go do, and he would listen to them, and advice that they gave them that worked, he would keep, and advice that they gave them that didn't work, he would just throw out right away. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's like, and we could be doing that for all of our sports and everything, but I think a lot of times we appeal to authority and we like get stuck in these technical models, we get stuck in these like sports performance models that don't really work for us or don't really apply for us, regardless if the advice is good or not. That's the thing that I think a lot of athletes have to like realize. It's like, it doesn't mean the advice is bad. It doesn't mean it's like the worst advice in the world, but if that advice doesn't work for you in that moment, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in that moment, and you need to get rid of that advice and reset, right? So I think it was just something that was freeing today when I was looking at this stuff. It's like, if the advice is not working, regardless of who's telling you advice, and again, you don't have to shit on the advice. Doesn't mean if it works for 1,000 people and it doesn't work for you, again, that advice is probably still good advice, but maybe in that moment it's not clicking with you and you need to go somewhere else. You need to get a different piece of advice. You need a different cue. And as coach, the same thing. If your piece of advice has worked for 1,000 athletes, but it doesn't work for the one athlete there, you probably need to twist your advice and change your advice and switch it up, right? There are no rules to the advice that we give. Doesn't mean that the advice is bad. Doesn't mean that your technical model is bad. Doesn't mean that your philosophy is bad, but it doesn't work for that athlete in front of you, right? And I think the more we can take that Bruce Lee approach of absorb what is useful and discard what isn't, I think the better off we are. So we're going to go do that with Olympic lifts and get after it today. Let's get it. So just finished up all the complexes. I just wanted to warm up a little bit with the complex, get moving a little bit before I was talking. Wasn't really feeling all that great again, like I was saying, a little bit tired from BP. So now we're just going to start hitting our cleans. Start with threes, get to singles. You guys know the drill. Let's get after it today. I just got a new pre-workout. Haven't taken pre-workout in a while. I've just been ripping Go Citrus consistently. I can't remember the name of it. I'll go find it. And the flavor is mid, but I was looking for the L-citrulline, as Workhorse Locking got talking about on our ARM podcast that we did, Walking Pock and podcast in his garage. So if I don't have the sickest pump ever today on my Olympic lifting day, I'm going to be a little disappointed in you, Locking. So let's rip it today. Oh, that was what I was going to talk about. I couldn't remember why I was bringing up the pre-workout. When you buy pre-workout, don't buy name brand pre-workout. Buy pre-workout that has an ingredient list. Ideally, you go make your own pre-workout, right? With the ingredients that you want, you just go buy the separate ingredients, you kind of put them together, make your own. That's the best way to do it, right? If you're a little bit lazy or you just want something together, look at the ingredient list of your pre-workout. Don't just buy the C4, don't just buy the look at the ingredient list and see if it has the ingredients that you want it, right? So I found a kind of no-name pre-workout. I don't know the name of it. Maybe it's a growing brand. I don't know. But I found a no-name pre-workout that was much cheaper than everything else, but it had all of the ingredient lists that I wanted. It had alpha GPC, it had L-theanine, and it had caffeine, obviously. Beta-alanine I really like just for the tingles, and then it had L-citrulline in there and a couple other things that I really enjoy. But looking for your key blocks in your pre-workout is more important than trying to find like the name brand pre-workout. A lot of times the name brand pre-workouts are big because they have those key blocks in there, but a lot of times you can buy a cheaper form of that pre-workout that has more and better ingredients of what you're looking for. So there's something to think about. Obviously, ideally you make your own or you just kind of get your own ingredients that you want. But if you are a pre-workout person, I think it's important to look the ingredient list rather than just buying the coolest looking one. All right, let's rip. Let's go. We had Mark Amick come in. He works with Valid. I think it's Valid. That's what it is. It's a sports performance or sports science kind of company. Brought in a lot of cool force plates and laser cameras today, and we were messing around with those. He's going to be on Thursday, hopefully, as long as we can get our schedules match up. We're going to do like a workout together and rip some of the cool machines that he had. But that force plate stuff is really cool. Again, I know I'm not the anti-metric guy, but don't swear by a lot of metrics, but that force plate stuff is pretty sweet, looking at the asymmetries between athletes and some of the cool things we were finding out just messing around with it day one of it, which was kind of cool. So we're going to rip that together and kind of go into more detail on that on Thursday in a couple days and get it from there. So let's go. All right, one more set of threes, then we'll start ripping sinkies. Let's go. All right, we got 275 on the bar. We get this for a triple, which we should. We're feeling ourselves a little bit today. That'd be nice. That'd be a sweet little triple for us. Used to be, when I was getting used to the technique and getting used to catching that bar again and absorbing that bar, it really had a lot of inhibition when I was doing this stuff. Like I would just bail underneath it. Now it's feeling actually pretty good, which is nice. So let's get it. Back to our old ways. Here we go. Fuck that up, trying to keep my hat on. Trying not to crush my mic. I was hoping I could hold that. Let's get the singles. Let's go. Go time, singles. Let's get it. Here we go. Fuck! Come on. Fucking hey, dude. No singles today. Got in my head. I don't know what's going on. Tried that 295 after 275. Pretty clean triple. That was a really good triple for me, especially for what I've been doing for triples. Got to 295, missed the first one, and just got into my fucking head about it. And then every rep after was terrible, and then I went to 275 and couldn't even get 275 for a single. Some days it's like that. I'll take the win at the 275 triple. That was nice. We'll keep going from there. I will build up. Whatever. Singles. Not gonna dwell on it too long. We got single arm deadlifts here. 8 reps each leg, ripping these each leg. 8 reps each set here. Single arms, ripping them, pulling. Let's go. Make up for our softness here. Nice. Again, I really like those single arm deadlifts. I feel like I really get a nice glute drive through, better than a double arm deadlift for some reason. I don't know if it's like in my head. I don't know if it's like an inhibition thing with my technique where I just start folding or I just use too much weight. But I feel like I get a lot more out of those single arm deadlifts than I do double arm deadlift. Not to say I won't do a regular deadlift, double arm deadlift. Let's say I won't do regular arm deadlifts, double arm deadlifts. I'm fucking Don't listen to me right now. I'm an idiot. I'm just gonna get to the next set. Let's go. Some days you just don't got it, and I think that's something to note as an athlete. I know so many athletes, myself specifically back in the day, where if I missed something like that or got in my head with something, I think like my whole program is trash. Everything needs to be thrown out. Everything, like whatever. Like sometimes it's just psychological. Sometimes you just don't have interest in it. Sometimes you're just in your head. Sometimes it's just not clicking that day. And the next day could be your big PR day. And I've had so many times where like one training day is just trash. I don't want to even say it's trash. Like 275 was great, but a lot of athletes like they have a great day, great week of training, great month of training, and they have one bad miss lift and it's just fucking everything, or one bad sprint time, or one bad jump, and everything is just thrown out the window, right? It's like a lot of times you just need to take a deep breath. You'll be okay. The next day you come back, you rip. Next accessory, you come back, you rip. Next, even some reps, sometimes you can come back and rip. So a lot of times it's just you don't got it that day. That's okay. Obviously, you want more days where you got it than when you don't have it. But as long as your program is continuing in the right direction, where more days you do have it than you don't, then you're probably on the path. If every day you don't got it and you're going to your sport and you're not making progress, obviously there's probably a lot of data points there. But I think that's where having a little bit of bird's eye view on your program and just seeing all of your wins, all of your losses. As long as your wins are more than your losses, you're probably on the right track. Everything's going good, and you don't need to make drastic changes. I think a lot of times athlete was making really good progress right about the breakthrough. They'll have a loss and they'll change everything and they start back over from new and build back up right to that point, right where they're about to break through, they'll drop back down, right? Again, it's that linear game for the exponential growth, right? So like you keep missing a lift, you keep missing a lift, you keep missing a lift. One day it clicks, everything goes, and then you raise that ceiling, right? And I'm a true believer in that. I'm a true believer in that exponential game. You show up in the linear game, keep crushing the linear game, you get those exponential gains eventually, right? And that's where the real growth in training comes from. It's not necessarily the 2 pounds here, 2 pounds here, 2 pounds here. It's those big jumps, those big technical gains that you have in your sport. Maybe a lot of times it's just something in your head that clicks. It's like, oh, well, I can clean 315 now. I can do 275 for 3 now. When I started, it was just in my head. Now, I'm like the strength gains haven't been that much more, but now it's just in my head. I can clean 275 for 3 instead of 1, right? Now it's in my head. Every time I go up here, I can go do that, right? So it's just something that you gain, something that you become. It's the story that you tell yourself, and I think that's important, right? So let's get it. 8 rep max. Spicy. Woo. All right, let's keep ripping. Probably last set of 8s here. If it's feeling really good, I might hit singles on this just because I didn't get a good single on the cleans, and we got to make up for being soft. But let's see how this feels first, and then we'll go from there. 8 of them. Come on, 2 more. Come on. Ooh, let's go. Those feel good. Let's hit some singies for funsies. Go from there. Let's rip. Easy singy. Let's go. Let's go. Woo! All right, even though that was like a 10 out of 10 RPE, it was really hard to like drive those hips through and actually finish that rep. Didn't feel like terribly tough on the back. A lot of times with the deadlift, it's like, oh, that back feels like it's gonna snap. Kind of like that doesn't is not my limiting factor. It's more so like getting those hips all the way through, squeezing those glutes. But even though that was super heavy, I missed it on the phone. So we're gonna record it on the phone here and do another ego lifting set. Let's get after it. One more single. Then we're gonna go do a couple accessories, probably not very many, and get out of here. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, bitch. Woo! There we go. A little cheat with that last arm, but I just wanted to feel that extension at the top. Let's go. So we're finishing up 3 sets. Just finished up. This will be our 3rd set. Reverse hypers and then some Copenhagen side bends in here, or adductor side bends, however you want to call them, in the GHR. Reverse hypers were never like the game changer when I had my herniated disc. I know a lot of people like Louis Simmons and people were very up on this changing their back. And if this is an exercise that has changed your back, and I know that it kind of went through the cycle of reverse hypers aren't that magic, and like so they went all the way to like reverse hypers are bad, from magical to bad to magical, and there's like no in between. I think it's a good exercise. Strengthens the back. I don't think there's anything wrong with the exercise. It just wasn't the magic cure for my back when I was doing it like it was sold. But that doesn't mean there's anything inherently wrong with the exercise. I haven't done it in a while. Heard Rogan talking about it again, swearing by it. And again, if this is an exercise that is a game changer for your lower back, absolutely freaking do it, man. Just because people are saying that it's not, or that there's all these bad things, whatever. Like, I don't think it's a bad exercise at all. I don't think it's a magic exercise at all, but I think if it is a magic exercise for you, especially when it comes to back pain, like, I think that's one of the things with back pain. Like, you've got to find your magic exercises. For me, it was a lot of side bending and getting that spine to move and do a lot of those things like that, build up a spine that's able to move, and obviously get into some flexion extension here with these reverse hypers. But I think a lot of times we just go, it's a really bad exercise, it's a magic exercise, and no in between. I think if it is a magic exercise for you, it's amazing. If it's not, you don't have to like pretend like it is a magic exercise. There is a middle ground there, right? And I think it's a nice exercise. It's like a 7 out of 10 exercise. It's a solid exercise, and I think a lot of athletes could do more of it. It can be a magic exercise for a lot of athletes just because it's a position. It's like one of the first popularized spine bending movements, right? Like I think that's why it was magic for a lot of people, because a lot of athletes that are super compressed, not moving their spine at all, they finally get that spine to move a little bit and they can progressively overload and progress and regress some of the movements that they're doing with the reverse hyper. I think that's why it looks like magic for a lot of athletes. And I think in our training program, we do a lot of already spine bending. So it's like, it wasn't the game changer for a lot of my athletes, right? But it's still a solid exercise. So let's stop yapping. Let's get it. Third set of these, 3 sets of 20, swinging up and down here. Back pumping, feeling good. We'll go straight in these side bends here, hopping right up into it. Face this way first. Really like this one. Again, this is just like that hip machine. I think getting into those abductors and hips can help a lot of your lifts and just make the body feel a little bit better. So we got sets of 8 here. Deep side bend. Feel that. Pause in the groin. Then we come back up. Ooh, nice. I think those are really nice too, because again, you can regress into the way. So left knee isn't as good as the right knee on these. Get a little bit too much pressure on that knee if I don't use the support, but you can just hands there, help your way up. Feel that stretch, get that stretch, and then whenever you feel that pull, use the hands, help yourself back up. Right knee doesn't really have any of those issues, so it's a regression with the right, or progression with the right knee is not using the hands or using less support on the way back up. 8 more of these. We'll say goodbye and get out of here. Just finished up. Today just wasn't the day, man. I kind of knew it wasn't the day coming in. Felt like trash. Tried to go for a walk before the lift just to get myself back in. But after that, like 4 hours in the sun, playing softball today, just felt a little wrecked. Got good sleep last night, didn't feel beat up there. Diet's been good, but just didn't have it today. It was one of those days where I was like, I'm gonna fake it till I make it and kind of talk myself in. And a lot of times those days go actually pretty well, where you come in and you feel like shit and then you talk yourself into it, start moving, you hit some sort of PR. And again, I'm sure I'll look back and see it wasn't as terrible, but felt like I couldn't talk very well today. Felt like I couldn't lift very well today. Just kind of felt out of it, but still got good training in. And that's the one thing that I've really enjoyed, and I don't want to say been proud of myself with, because it sounds kind of like but I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with myself being consistent, a lot more consistent. These YouTube videos have helped, but showing up, getting back into it, getting a good training stimulus in every day, whether it's amazing or not. And then the next day we just bounce back, we keep ripping, right? So the more days we can stack together like this, whether they're good or bad, whether it's the worst day ever or the best day ever, show up the next day, we keep crushing, right? So I'm sure tomorrow will be great. Yesterday was a really good training day. Today was really good hitting today. I felt like I was ripping the ball, and then just got here, kind of got in my head with the cleans, kind of fell apart from there, but still got a good training stimulus in. I think it's a little bit later than I'm used to training, and maybe that messed me up. I'm supposed to be in bed right now. Schedule got all jacked up today, but yeah. Didn't have the juice today. We'll have the juice tomorrow. Apologize if it wasn't spectacular today, but we'll keep ripping. Let's get it. Keep chopping wood.